chapters included is chapter 1 until chapter 4. Okay. So this one I think I already set in the calendar. So all set lah. Okay, we are done until chapter 4, which is first on Bird and Nature Environment, chapter 2 on the standard, chapter 3 on the EIA and EMP, chapter 4 on water quality, and then chapter 5 for today I will start teaching on water treatment on chapter 5 for 2 weeks until next week Okay. So I think I already uploaded this chapter notes in Author. Kan? Semua dapat
Ada, Doktor.
Okay, thank you. Your response. Okay, so before this we learned about water quality, right? The parameter which is on the physical, chemical and biological parameter. So now we are moved towards the how to treat this water. Okay, so before I start about this lecture, then recently do we have any water disruption happens in our area, especially in Selangor, which is on second day of Raya? Ada siapa yang dekat rumah tak ada air? Siapa rumah ada dekat Putrajaya, Selangor, KL? Ada air? Tak ada masalah.
Ada.
Di Sarawak ada, tapi di KL. Tak ada siapa duduk ni ke, Putrajaya ke, kat mana Semenyih. Memang tak ada masalah air lah Okay. Ada Dr. Bala. You duduk mana?
Dekat Selangor, Dr. Rawang.
Dekat Rawang? Oh, okay. So, I found this. But this is on 30 April Okay. About this water cuts in Selangor due to the odor pollution. Okay, and this is about this area affected. Located in Jendram Hilir Raw Water Pump Station in Intake, sorry. Okay, so Air Selangor ada bagi information on this one. Okay, this water treatment plant in Semenyih ni always quite a problematic water treatment plant ni, WTP always having this problem of water disruption. Okay, so the problem of this water treatment plant due to the odor pollution. Biasanya kalau odor pollution due to ammonia. Does anyone know what are the causes of ammonia pollution? Kita dah pernah ada sikit lah information during our chapter 4 Ada siapa nak cuba? What causes of ammonia pollution or that gives this problem of odor? Bau Is this your first class or what? Semua slow motion Maksudlah saya sebenarnya first day of work kan. Anyone who wants to try? Saya sebutlah nak tunggu korang jawab ni. Sampai esok pun tak ada respon. Atau kita tanya Bala, what? Because you experience this water disruption in your area, right? So do you possibly know what happening?
I'm not sure, but maybe water pollution I rasa macam disebabkan kilang-kilang macam tu ke.
Kilang
Ya.
Kilang kat situ banyak. Banyaklah kan kat Selangor kan.
Yeah.
Okay. From the kilang Yang lain?
Maybe F&B punya business.
Yes, F&B, that's possibly, right? Chai Wei Jing. Saya sebut je ni. Ada tak? Chai Wei Jing.
Yes, doktor.
Sebab apa? This one from this case study due to the odor pollution, right? So basically odor dia ada related with ammonia. Ammonia is very high. What are the causes of this high ammonia level? Agak-agak daripada mana ni puncanya?
Saya rasa sebab baja.
Baja, ya. Betul, kalau ammonia memang pada baja. That's correct. So kawasan di Semenyih ni banyak agriculture tu macam mana? Sungai Semenyih ni, kawasan mana ni? Kawasan Kajang semua tu kat mana? Facebook pula. Loji Rotan Air Sungai Semenyih. Gendram Hilir. Ini kawasan-kawasan memang hotspot lah ni di PJ Petaling kan very orang kata sangat-sangat ialah pesat lah membangun development Okay, this is one and then this is the second day of Raya, right? 3rd of May. 3rd of May ada water cuts arrest in Klang Valley from 3 PM on second day of Raya. Siapa duduk kawasan ni? Semua diam je. So dekat sini yang terkesan ialah di Petaling, Hulu Langat, Sepang, Kuala Langat dan Putrajaya. Okay, sama juga Gendram Hilir Raw Water Pump Station. Okay, saya rasa ni sama ni. Sungai Semenyih, okay sama. Tapi dia ada mobilize tanker truck lah. Okay, to give water supply to the consumers sebab ni second day raya kan. So this is the latest reception occurred between 30th of May, April sampailah ke second day of raya macam tu due to this pollution. Okay, any comment or you want to add something about this issue, especially yang duduk dekat kawasan ni lah? Ada?
Doktor, kenapa Selangor selalu ada masalah air?
Okay. Benda ni itulah bila saya Google kan about water cut in Malaysia yang keluar ni lah Selangor, Gombak, KL, Tomorrow ni boleh March. Kebanyakannya KL, Selangor. So kita tahu Selangor, KL ni pembangunan dia sangat pesat. Okay, there are lots of this residential area, industries as well. Okay. Jadi saya rasa mungkin pembangunan tu tak seimbang dan juga dia punya enforcement dia kurang. Jadi there are lots of this orang kata pollution and water pollution that affect the water supply in the river. Okay, kalau ammonia tu basically it comes from one is from the fertilizer. Okay, dulu during my project in Simpang Renggam, the high contributions of ammonia comes from the landfill. Dia punya leachate tu because they don't treat the leachate properly, then the leachate pass flowing through into the river, and when the water, this river is actually the main water supply for the LRA, lajurutan air. So the water cannot be operated, cannot be treated. Okay, same with this ammonia, basically due to the agriculture because they have lots of this organic fertilizer kan, that can, sekarang ni musim hujan ya, okay, mungkin runoff daripada agriculture as well. Then potentially from this industry that contribute high protein like F&B pun possible. Itulah dia benda-benda yang organik lah, ammonia that can increase the high levels of ammonia in the water. Agriculture, fertilizer, possibly if the wastewater treatment plant or wastewater, maybe they have got lot of what we call that, some if what we call it, problem, okay, dia punya sewerage mungkin ada problem jadi air daripada kumbahan tu not entering the wastewater treatment plant tapi dia masuk ke dalam water supply. So that's going to be the issue Kebanyakannya KL Selangor So itulah dia Okay, what I want to highlight here, the issue of the water cuts in Malaysia, especially in this area, is because we want to understand about the concept of the water treatment for chapter 5. Dah faham lah? Okay. Any other question before I proceed with chapter 5 for water treatment? No.
No,
Semua tengah beraya tidur. Okay, tak apalah. Okay, so for this chapter, it will take about 6 hours lecture. So we will learn about this. Water surface, surface water, intake and screening, aeration, coagulation, flocculation, sedimentation, filtration and disinfection. Okay, ini sebenarnya ialah actually a conventional water treatment that's applied around the world, okay, including Malaysia of course. But I believe that some of the water treatment plant they have some advanced treatment because that one is depending on the water quality in that area. Kalau maksudnya dia terlampau tercemar, that means they need to have maybe UV filtration, UV disinfection, okay, to kill certain bacteria, something like that. But for this one, this is a conventional system. Conventional tu ialah benda yang common lah, conventional kita panggil Okay. Okay, I hope that at the end of this lecture, you need to understand the importance of the water treatment, and because you had learned about these 3 main parameters of the water quality, now is how we treat the water to make it feasible or safe for the human consumption, not only for the potable but palatable. When I can explain what does it mean by palatable, then to provide the basic outline of the selections technology. Okay, so when we comes to the engineering aspect on the water, right? So basically first memang kita ada supply or stream of the water. Okay, before we can use it, we need to treat because you know that the water comes from various sources, kan? So to avoid contamination, we need to have a treatment. Inilah treatment lah. Okay, kalau if in you are living near to UTHM campus, we have our nearest LRA. Kita panggil LRA is a Loja rawatan air in Sri Gading, and Paik Raja pun kita ada. Paik Raja is near to Perwira. Betul kan? Perwira, ada kan? You nampak macam ada water storage tu, water distribution. Okay, so the water treatment can get the water supply from the stream, from our river. Okay, yang di river stream sama je, river ya. Ataupun we like our what we call it, JPS, Jabatan Pengiran dan Saliran, they have actually construct and build the reservoir. Reservoir tujuannya ialah untuk store the water, kawasan tadahan then also, but in Johor we are actually not really much into the wells water, but certain part in Malaysia like in Kelantan they do collect or get the waters from the wells because of the geological factor. This is why, right? Then the water will be treated, okay, and then after treatment they will be distributed to your home, right, for your apa namanya consumption, industry. Okay, industry ni depends. For the big industry, they must actually okay, ni kaitan dengan water kan. Okay, the industry needs the water, of course. It's a very high demand. And then after we use the water, right, for our daily users, for example, for bath, taking a bath, laundry, lagi apa, cooking, apa kita guna air at home? Macam mana kita gunakan air? We drink, we cook,
Cuci pinggan.
cuci, laundry,
Cuci pinggan, masak raya.
cuci apa tadi?
Cuci pinggan during
Cuci
raya.
pinggan. Okay, dish washing. Cuci pinggan betul pula. Dish washing lagi. Very important, right? Our necessity. Without water, I don't think we can survive. Kalau tak ada elektrik, okay lagi kan? Tapi kalau tak ada air, okay, you want to take a bath, you want to do your for cleaning, right? That's very important. Pergi toilet, nak membuang air besar kecil pun kena bersihkan kan diri kita. Itu yang saya rasa pada utama. Kalau Muslim, it's very important to have water for wuduk. Okay, so okay, that's water that we can get from this water treatment plant. So here for this chapter, we will learn about how is what is the process happens in the water treatment plant. Kat sinilah. So this is for the chapter 5. Okay, then after we consume the water for our daily activities, household activities, then we discharge it as a wastewater, air sisa, unwanted water kita panggil. Okay, so in here in chapter 6, all of you will learn on how we treat that wastewater, because I noticed that some students, they are confused between the water dengan wastewater. They mix up. So please don't. So wastewater after you use, kan dekat sini kan you buang air dekat sinki. Okay, you throw everything in the sinks. And then laundry, kan after meeting basuh, then where does the water goes? Where does it goes? The water. Siapa tahu? Contoh kalau mesin basuh, your laundry, buang kat mana Ni nak kena tanya ni. Yes?
Maksud doktor itu washing machine punya air pergi mana kah?
Ya.
Pergi rumah longkang dan rumah longkang pergi luar rumah longkang yang lebih besar. Macam tu.
Sebenarnya kalau kawasan tu perumahan taman dia akan pergi ke sanitary sewer. kita panggil sebagai apa sewer manhole manhole ke ataupun sanitary sewer, dia punya pipe piping area lah. Nanti dia akan pergi ke IWK lah kalau kat Semenanjung lah. Kalau kat Johor, Selangor, kebanyakannya kita ada IWK. Kat Sarawak I'm not sure. Which company that handle or treat your wastewater, air kumbahan? Sistem pembentungan. Sabah, Sarawak, masa IWK ke?
Kalau
Betul.
kalau Sarawak tak ada wastewater.
Tak ada logik kumbahan je.
Tak ada wastewater. Tapi ada
Kalau tak
sewage.
ada, tapi kalau tak ada logik kumbahan means every house must have the septic tank.
Ya betul.
Septic tank Septic tank ni biasanya kalau septic tank applies for the individual house. Macam rumah kampung ataupun dia individual house ni dia sendirilah, dia tak connect with the logik kumbahan. Septic tank okay, tapi make sure that you must do the maintenance every 2 or 3 years. Sebenarnya ada dia punya calculation dia. Yang ini you must maksudnya sedut, panggil orang tangki dan sebagainya, sedut dia punya ni sisa tu setiap 3 tahun. Saya rasa ini ramai yang tak aware pasal septic tank punya maintenance. Betul tak?
Betul.
Tak apa. So I keep this for chapter 6 for wastewater treatment plant Ini biasanya berlaku yang septic tank ni applies for kalau kawasan perumahan tu kawasan kampung. Okay, dia rumah sebuah-sebuah kan. Tak adalah nak sampai ke ada kita buat loji rawatan kumbahan ni. Tapi kalau kawasan perumahan, residential area, usually they have this combined system and they have this sanitary sewers. Pembentung. Betul lah. Itu saya tunjukkan dia punya gambar IWK. Right, yang ni okay. Then for this system, usually your parents ke every 2 or 3 months, saya tak ingat berapa bulan sekali, they need to pay the IWK bills. Not much, I think around 30 something ringgit. Saya lupa nak tengok bill sebab biasanya husband saya yang bayar. Tapi tak mahal lah. That's the bill for IWK lah. Kalau sebab saya di kawasan taman di Ketepat. Okay, kalau septic tank tak ada. But tadi saya katakan tadi, you need to know that you must do the clearance of your tank, septic tank ni. Kalau tidak dia akan pergi overflow ke soil dan dia akan pergi ke sungai lah macam tu, mencemarkan sungai sebenarnya. Okay, then after that, okay, we also have this storm sewers. Ini ialah air daripada larian air larian ribut daripada hujan, right? Yang ni pun kita ada. Biasanya if it includes or in the combined system, they will go to the wastewater treatment plant, treated, ataupun kalau disconnected, then dia akan masuk again to our stream of river. Yang ni after treatment, then the effluent must be less contaminated. The IWK needs to monitor the effluent level, okay, to the certain concentration. Okay, yang ini pun sebenarnya septic tank whatsoever must actually kita kena tahu jugalah. Okay, so yang ini sebenarnya is like a cycle. So what we give is what we get back. Kalau semuanya ada sistem disrupted, we do some what we call that there's a pollution, right, occur and entering the stream, then it gives problem to this water treatment plant, can operate it, cannot treat it, and product is in here. Masalah lah. So we didn't get the clean water, or maybe we got experience with water cuts, no water for certain time, which is will disturb our daily activities. Walaupun tak nak kan, terganggu banyak isu terganggu. Okay, that's the engineered water system, right? Which combine the chapter 5, which is on the water treatment plant, and this one will be cover for chapter 6 later on, on the wastewater. Is there any question up until here? Faham tak?
Faham.
Okay. Kalau ada soalan, you can post in the chatting box if you want. Okay, basically the objectives of the surface. Okay, now we have this term, surface. What does it mean by surface water? Surface water. Ada siapa tahu? Ya, Amira Nadia. Amira Nadia, what does it mean by surface water?
Air larian muka daripada hujan.
Air larian daripada hujan. Okay, betul. So surface water includes the water, for example, river. Kita panggil river benda yang kita nampak surface, river. Tadi storm water pun ialah storm water will go into the river. The basically is river. Daripada air ataupun stream. Okay, surface kita nampak dia permukaan. So basically for this treatment, we want to remove the suspended material when color and then eliminate the pathogenic organisms, because we suspect that the suspended material carry all of these pollutants. That's why we want to remove it. Okay, in this treatment plant. In author, actually I uploaded one video regarding to the process in water treatment plant. Okay, if we are in physical class, we can go and visit one of the water treatment plant like in Sri Gading, but now we are in the endemic, phase. Still is quite difficult to have this visit lah. So I think for the video you can have a look because the process is same. And also you can search in the YouTube to know the basically what's happening in the water treatment plant. Okay, so basically the surface water supply from tadi saya kata boleh daripada stream, river. Okay, some of the location they also take the water from lake, boleh juga. Okay, tapi lake ni is okay, but you must know the geological factor of the lake, because certain lake are from the mining area. Okay, long time ago it was a mining. So when it was used as a mining, we need to be careful about there's some certain heavy metals. For example, certain metals. So that why we need to have the extra additional treatment to remove the metals, because the water supply basically to supply for the consumers, right? For the public. So you must make sure that the water must be comply with the standards. Okay, so for this treatment system, first we need to do the screening. So I will explain you later on about each of the process. This is the coagulant. Coagulant tu apa ya? Siapa tahu? This is the main what we call the very important chemicals that we use in our water treatment plant. Sangat penting ni. Siapa tahu? Macam saya ada terangkan sikit dulu. Jaswin ada?
Yes, doctor.
Coagulant. Did you know what does it mean by coagulant? Apa fungsi dia? Tengah Google? Dah? Tak jumpa lagi. Compound or agent which is added, okay, to a vessel to help thickening something, yeah. That's correct. Yes. Okay, coagulant usually we use alum. Alum is our coagulant to because this coagulant like alum is positively charged and the pollutants basically negative, so they will combine together. Okay, dia akan memerangkap, is it? Memerangkap these particulates in the water ataupun kita panggil sebagai colloids because it's very tiny. Then it will becomes absorbed and heavier. Bila heavier tu dia akan settle ke bawah. So the what we call that, the cleaner water will pass through to the next level, which is on for the sedimentation and filtration. Okay, but to enhance these larger flocks, kita panggil sebagai flocks, to separate or to absorb these particles, we have to do the process in a flocculation basin. Okay, sedimentation basically to sediment the particle to make it settle ke bawah. Dia akan settle ke bawah, ya. Ke bawah. So the cleaner, the water that pass through the sedimentation process will go to the rapid sand filter, and then we put the chlorine, okay, and then store and then to do the distribution system. Okay, so this is the login lautan air semenyik in Selangor. I think this is a very quite complex login lautan. As you can see, it's very huge area to accommodate populations in Klang Valley, Selangor and also Putrajaya, KL, kan? Alright. But unfortunately, due to the very heavy industries, okay, agricultural and lots of this development occurring and alongside the river and the water supply, give very stress to this LRA in Semenyih, Selangor. So as you can see, if you Google, there are lots of the issue in this LRA Semenyih, Selangor. Recently, they are facing water cuts, water disruption, okay, even during the second day of raya, ya. Biasa dengar juga ni kalau kat news, Semenyih kan. Okay, this is the complete process for water treatment plant in Malaysia, with the some diagram, with the photo ni kan, nampak lebih mudah nak faham. So this is the intake, so you can get so the raw water source will be first will go to the aerator to improve the water quality and also to provide the oxygen. Aerator is very important to supply the oxygen, to remove the odor, okay, to improve the quality of the water. Okay, then here we dose with the alum as a coagulant and some of the hydrated lime for the softening. Lime ni kapur, kapur to increase the pH as well. Because to do the coagulation process, the pH must be neutral. So usually the contaminated water, it has a low pH, so we need to add with lime, right? So after we do the coagulation, adding with the alum, okay, the process of this adding the chemicals, of, especially the alum, then it will create the flux. Flux tu ialah larger particles where the alum absorb the colloids, the tiny particles right? Because we want to remove all this suspended solid or turbidity. Then it create the larger flux, okay? It will be heavy. Bila heavy, it will be settled, right? So during the sedimentation tank, slowly it will settle at the bottom of the sedimentation tank. Okay, the cleaner water will pass through to the sediment, to the filtration. So by using the sand filtration, it will remove all of these what we call it, certain what we call it, leftover colloids or particles, okay, that contains maybe some viruses, some bacteria. Okay, in order to make sure that the water is free from the bacteria, right, and virus, we need to put the chlorine as a disinfection action, okay, to kill the germs. Okay, so this is the clean water tank. Of course, we need to have the pump to store the water in the balancing tank, and then it's ready to be distributed to the consumers. Okay, consumers in here, you will go to your house and also to the industry, commercials, and so on. Okay. Okay, so this is the treatment process. I think I already give you the explanation before, right? So you can read lah. Okay, so depends lah on the situation. Certain LRA ataupun rojoratan air or water treatment plant is you can use like a conventional system, but if the water quality is not really good, then you need to have certain process additional. For example, you need to have the pre-chlorination, right? Because to disinfect the raw water only, because the raw water that the water intake is too polluted, you can check, right? Then you need to have the pre-chlorination. Or you can also provide the pre-sedimentation. Okay, this is actually in Malaysia, this is compulsory to add the fluoride to prevent the incidence of the dental caries. Okay, ini biasa. And okay, some of the LRA, they have also provide the activated carbon to remove odor and taste producing compounds. So it actually depends of this additional treatment of the situation, and depends on the quality of the raw water intake. Okay, that comes to your water treatment plant. Okay. So basically the goal of the water treatment plant is it must be aesthetically pleasing, consider to the present the chemical, do not pose a threat to human health. That means if we know in our mindset, the water must be clear, right? So for example, today you receive water very turbid. It's like a brownish color, right? So do you think that you want to consume the water? Nak ke? Tiba-tiba air tu keruh.
Tak nak.
So itu kita panggil sebagai palatable, aesthetically it's pleasing. Kita tengok okay, clear. Nak kata white bukanlah white kan, it's a jernih, right? Macam ni pada bukan bulan puasa kan. Ni clear. So kita tahu memang air ni okay, is bila clear is safe to consume. Okay, potable means it must be safe to drink. So it must what we call that, non concentrations of certain microbiomes or suborganic chemical. This one actually is the responsibility by the water treatment plant to provide the testing for the certain parameter for chemicals and microbial testing set by the Ministry of Health. Dia kena check lah semua. Even for the inorganic chemical pun dia kena check. Okay, but not every day. Ada certain time lah, maybe once in a month for this what you call that, certain compound that can give some effect to the health, human health. Okay, so these are the two objectives, the goal of the municipal water treatment that provide us the good water. Okay. So first is about the raw water intake. So in Malaysia, from where we get our water, raw water? In Malaysia. Muhammad Fahmi? Muhammad Fahmi ada. So in Malaysia, from where we get our water?
Empangan.
Empangan. Okay, empangan from the dam Okay, from the dam tu usually like in Batu Pahat, betul from the dam, tapi the dam tu daripada sungai lah. Contohnya macam Sungai Semurong. So they collect the water from the Sungai Semurong River, and then put in the dam. So the dam is like a storage lah for the water. Then our water treatment plant WTP will get the water intake from this dam. Macam tu. Tapi ada juga certain of the water treatment plant they get the water directly from the river. But that one usually certain area okay, because they know the water quality is okay. I mean maintained in terms of water quality. But if not okay, then they need to store in the dam water. This to make sure that the water levels is sufficient. Okay, but I think they also do always the checking on the in terms of water quality. Okay, yang tadi dam tadi ialah water reservoir sebenarnya water reservoir. So we have several water intake pumping. For example, here we have this bucket or crib. Macam mana? This is the pump to get collect the water, and this is the rigid pipe works from the bottom of this system where we get the water from the low density of the area. And then this is the examples of the raw water intake by using this, for example, the tower intake. Ini di Malaysia saya tak pernah nampak lagi. We have this examples is a floating intake, right? Submerged ni biasa dan sebagainya. Okay, so these are the characteristics of the intake site selection. Okay, I think before they construct the water treatment plant, they must make sure that the intake site selection must be at the they must consider these factors. In terms of water quality is very important, right? So from where you want to collect the water, is it directly from the river or you want to take from the reservoir? The water depth, of course, the stream or current velocities, okay, the foundation, the excess power for the pump punya power availability, proximity to the water treatment plant, environmental impact and hazard to the to navigate. Okay, you boleh baca. Okay, after you get the water using the pump and by using the several mechanisms, then you need to screen the water. This is the first screening. Okay, the first screening is very important because you want to prevent the large object from entering the conveyor system, so that we must make sure that they are not disrupt the mechanical system. Okay, so this is an example because we know if the water, for example, from the river, from the stream, they have lots of this rubbish, what else? Suspended matter, right? a lot of things, bangkai haiwan pun ada, and so on. So we have this screening to make sure that we screen first all of these materials. So example is one is fixed, and they also have the rotary. Then they need to dispose lah yang ni, macam sampah-sampah ni. Dan juga dia akan they have this one truck to send to the landfill macam sampah. Okay, after the coarse screen, coarse ni yang kasar, coarse screen. Okay, basically the shape is 5 to 8 centimeter. Then we must provide the fine screens. Okay, this is basically to remove the fine materials lah. So the range is about 0.4 to 0.8 meter per second of the velocity. For the velocity lah. Okay. After fine screen, saya rasa yang ini pun untuk remove apa we call that, pasir pasir pun boleh juga, dan juga particles. After that, then the water must pass through the aeration. Aeration is we can using this cascade like this, like a stair, or by using the tray where from the bottom up, then they can what we call that, sembur air tu to provide the oxygen from the atmosphere, to get the oxygen from the atmosphere. So this purpose of the aeration is to reduce the taste and odor, to oxidize iron and manganese, okay, to dissolve oxygen in the water, to make it taste better, right, and to remove the H2S, basically to remove the odor and also certain color and taste. Okay, so this is if you want to have this, what we call this, design the aeration. For example, the cascade aerator. Cascade aerator is like this, macam ni cascade. So you can calculate of the total height of fall by using this Gamison's formula, right? So R means the ratio of the oxygen deficit before the aerator, and then the oxygen deficit is the difference between the actual oxygen content for the water at that temperature and pressure. A is the levels of the water pollution. So you can see lah which one of the level is either 1.25 is a slightly polluted water, moderate, or kind of the very polluted because it's very different. So it depends of your water quality. And then this is B is the types of weir, right? So you can choose what types of weir that you want to calculate for this to get the height of the fall. And then this is the aeration occur in the splash area berapa, dia punya loading rates. And generally the head required is 1 to 3 meter. 1 hingga 3 meter. Okay, this is the examples of the design for the cascade aerator. For example, here the content of the raw water is 4.5 milligram per liter. Not really high. Biasanya kalau good water quality is around 8 milligram per liter. And then the average temperature is 26. Okay, pressure 755, DO 8.2. Yalah. The water inflow is 390 meter cube per hour. These are the cascade aerator. Okay, by using this Gamison's formula, so we can calculate lah how much is the fall for design. So for the treatment requirement, it's very important for us to raise the DO, this oxygen, about 80% at the saturation condition. So 0.8, 80% times 8.2 is the saturated DO. So we should get 6.56. That's why we need to have the aeration process to increase the dissolved oxygen level. Okay, so you can calculate this one. So this is the height. Okay, the flow rate, and then from the flow rate, then you can get this collection basin, and this is the depth 3.2. Kita tengok sajalah example ya. Okay, this is for the cascade design for aerator. Okay, again, what is the functions of aeration in the water treatment plant? Anyone? Noratika binti Kamari?
Saya doktor. Untuk reduce concentration of taste and odor.
Yes, betul to reduce concentrations of taste and odor. Lagi?
Oxidize iron and manganese.
Yes, betul. Alright.
Dissolve.
To increase the dissolved oxygen in the water Okay. Okay, that's good. Okay, after we supply with sufficient oxygen in the water, bila we have sufficient enough of oxygen level in the water, that means our water quality improve. Okay, basically the raw water lah, because of the various sources of pollution. So the DO levels not really much. So that's why we need to supply it with the oxygens to increase or improve the water quality in terms of diesel oxygen. Okay, bila ada banyak oksigen, that means dia sikit, dia lebih bagus in terms of quality. But still we need to remove the particles in the water. This is the second part of the treatment system, which is for me, this is the main focus of the water treatment plant, how to remove the particles. Because particle, as we know, it carries lots of pollutants and contaminants. Okay. So tadi pun saya dah tanya dah, coagulations process is adding the chemicals. Apa chemicals dia? Ginseng. Ginseng?
Ya, doktor.
Chemicals apa kita guna during the coagulation?
Coagulant.
Yeah, coagulant. But give me examples of the coagulant. Coagulant tu ialah chemicals kan? Right. What is the common coagulant that we use in our water treatment plant?
FeOH.
Apa tu?
Ya, ferro.
Ferro?
Aluminium sulfate.
Aluminium sulfate. Okay, correct Aluminium sulfate tu nama panjang dia, tapi nama pendek dia alum. Okay. Aluminium sulfate sama je. Okay, alum kita panggil. Alum, tapi tadi ada juga kita gunakan, there are lots of actually coagulants, tapi biasa yang kita pakai ialah alum. They also use some ferrous base, okay, ferrous sulfate kalau saya tak silap dan juga there are lots of coagulants now in the market. Okay, so basically the functions of this coagulant, especially in this case, is alum, because this is the common use of coagulant in the water treatment plant. They use this alum to actually, because alum is a positive charge and our colloids is basically is a negative charge. So they can actually do this process, positive, negative ni. If you can see here, the particles is basically negative charge. Our alum contains of this positive charge. So like a Boy's angle, right? So they are attractive, absorb. Selain daripada alum tadi, kita ada juga ferrous. So depends lah which coagulant you want to use. So they will attract and absorb like this and becomes a flock. Maknanya tujuan dia ialah nak perangkap ni je negative charge ni, which is our particle, kotoran lah. Okay, particles that carry these pollutants, right? So when we apply this alum or coagulant, this is our coagulant. Kan, yang ni kan, yang warna biru ni. So it will be attract, absorb, right, and becomes a flock. So the process of this one, the combinations of this positive, negative, positive by our coagulant and negative by the particles, is a process of flocculation. Maknanya they makes the flocks heavy. Okay, bila dia heavy, dia akan settle down at the bottom of the flocculation tank. Kita nak dia settle sebanyak mana yang boleh, so that the cleaner water atas tu dia akan pergi ke next process, which is on filtration. So kalau boleh, all these particles or negative charge ni dia absorb. Itu konsep dia. Mau faham So what I explained to you just now is ada kat sini lah. So tak payahlah saya sebut lagi lah Right. So colloids ni maksudnya the small particles in the water that you cannot see in your naked eyes by using your naked eyes. It's very tiny, you cannot. But by using this alum and it getting bigger by producing these flocks in the laboratory experiment, okay, next semester, right, you will be having your environmental lab. Previously, we have conduct this experiment by using jar test. When we put the alum and then this is the dirty water, you can see clearly how it will create or producing the flock. Very interesting. Then you can see, okay, after this, after they settle, then the water becomes jernih, clear. No more this turbid water. Okay. This is the jar test. In the laboratory works, we illustrate these mechanisms of adding the alum ataupun coagulant in terms of ferric or ferric chloride. Some of the water due to the very highly contaminated, depends lah, right? Very highly turbid or whatsoever, certain of the water treatment plant, they will add some coagulant aid, okay, to maximize the process by using they add the polyelectrolytes, okay, to enhance the activity of the adsorption. And sometimes they put lime if the water is too low in terms of pH, okay, lime, and sometimes they put also, we need also to consider to put some acid to neutralize the pH, because the pH is very important. Why important? Because in order for the coagulation process to happen, we must having the pH neutral 6 to 9 pH. Okay, so this is the photo of this process, coagulation. Coagulation is the process of adding the chemicals of coagulant, okay, and do this destabilize of the particles, right? And then flocculation means they create these flocks. Ni kita panggil sebagai flocks, Nampak ni? Dia dah settle ke bawah, So this one yang kita kena remove, right? So they designed to remove the microorganisms and colloids. Colloids tadi is due to the small particle in the water that cause the turbidity, air keruh, and also it contains the toxic compounds, okay, and certain inorganic material. Semua kita tak nampak sebab dia terlampau kecil, tapi dia menyebabkan air tu terbuai terbit. So that's why we need to have this chemical coagulant, and then at a certain case we need to add also with the coagulant A to maximize the process to produce these flocks. Okay, semua boleh faham tangkap the process? Ada soalan? Is there any question about this process coagulation?
Okay, Doktor.
Okay. Okay, the process of coagulation basically is the adding of the chemicals, right? Chemicals of the coagulant lah. Okay, alum tadi boleh, ferrous sulfate dan sebagainya. Okay, there are lots of these examples of chamber that we can add this chemical. For example, turbine by using the propeller, macam-macam cara lah to mix the chemicals in this chamber. Or double compartment, there are lots. This is the rapid mixing varieties. Or certain WTP, they use a double compartment turbine chamber, pedal, inline blender. So basically the purpose is to add your chemicals in this chamber, mixing. Chemical ni is either tu lah tadi saya kata, you want to use aluminum sulfate, okay, ferrous, sometimes we need to add lime, because it depends on the raw water quality. If the pH is too low, then you need to add lime to increase the pH. Tadi saya katakan pH must be neutral, 6 to 9, lebih kurang macam tu lah, ataupun 6.5 to 8.5. Yang paling bagus ni. Okay. Okay, so this is the varieties, examples of the rapid mixing. Okay, then we also can check our effectiveness of the coagulation of this rapid mixing through these two mechanisms. Sometimes we call it adsorption or destabilization, tapi sama je sebenarnya proses dia. Okay, of the soluble hydrolysis species on the colloid and destabilization, and we always check with the turbidity levels, right? And this is the sweep coagulation where the colloid is trapped into the hydroxide precipitate. Tak ada apa ni, sekejapnya, ni proses saja. Right, and this is examples of the mixing time where by to design the ideal reactor, okay, the time of the mixing process. Then we can calculate using this volume and also the flow rate. For example, the adsorption process will take around half second, and sweep coagulation tu maksudnya ialah colloid is trapped in the hydroxide precipitate. Yang kat sini. You see the sweep coagulation, the trap dekat sini using the hydroxide precipitates Precipitate tu ialah mendakan Alright. So you can read also this one, the Q&A, why we need this mixing equipment, of course, because we want to mix to disperse the coagulant in the raw water. Then common alternative, this is how we mix this coagulant by using the flash mixing or rapid mixing. Sama-sama je, tapi fungsi dia is to absorb the particulates or the colloids, right? And then the efficiency of the mixing is depending on the velocity and also the mixing time. We can also calculate the power of the mixture, by using this formula, right? So we must know the velocity gradient and the volume and dynamic viscosity of the water. Okay, for example here, a rapid mixer is used for the dispersion of the coagulant, alright, to achieve the adsorption or destabilization reaction if the water, this temperature, flow at the 300 milliliter day, million kan? Determine the volume of coagulation tank, calculate the power, right? So given the velocity gradient is 2000 per second. So here, T should be fixed as 0.5 second, right? 0.5 jadi kena convert ni. Okay, so Q is given as 300 million liter day, right, in here. So 0.5 because as for the adsorption and distillation, the time must be fixed to 0.5. Ini boleh tengoklah tadi, before this we have the explanation. Then this is the volume, 1.74 meter cube. For the water properties, the dynamic viscosity of the water at 17 degrees Celsius is 1.081. Jadi given lah, ataupun dia ada jadual dia. So you can calculate the power. G given velocity is 2000 times with the volume 1.74 times with the viscosity. Then you need to get the power that you need is 7524 watt. Itu je, ya. Okay. Ada soalan? Is there any question up until here? This is to calculate the power of the rapid mixer. Hari ni masih ada yang terperangkap dalam traffic jam? Masih beraya ke?
Tak ada. Sarawak
Okay.
tak ada.
Sarawak tak ada traffic jam, bagus, that's good. Kalau di Semenanjung tu lah Tapi saya so far, I think from KL to Batu Pahat, no traffic jam at all. It's good. Kebetulan tak terperangkap lah. Okay, that one is about the power. Then again about the coagulation. Okay, the main actor is this one, coagulant, the chemicals that we use to add in the water to destabilize the particles. Will they destabilize, they can absorb. Alright. So the selections of the for the coagulant is very important. So it must be first non-toxic and inexpensive, very cost effective lah. That's why when I asked the Logi operator, the water treatment plant operator, basically what they use as a coagulant in their treatment system. They said usually they use alum. Sometimes they use the others because alum is very cost effective. Okay, and very efficient lah, right? Trivalent cation is a lesser dosage compared to the calcium. Biasanya yang ini dia very effective lah because it has contain lots of this positive charge, right, compared to the others. So the dosage ni maksudnya ialah they use a very small amount of dosage but it's very effective. Macam tu lah. Okay, then in terms of the chemistry, because of this one alum, aluminum sulfate is alum, and the chemical formula is in here. You can calculate the molecular weight is very heavy, right? So that's why when it's heavy, it's very effective in terms of high molecular weight. So it's very easy to settle to make the precipitates. Okay, and it can also remove the turbidity as well, even for the small dose, small concentration. Tapi ada juga yang lain lah. Right, you can see here there are lots of these coagulant like sodium aluminate, aluminum chloride, PAC pun quite common they use. Tapi I think because of the ni lah cost quite expensive and so on. And the second one is a ferric sulfate, also good because as you can see the molecular weight is the second highest compared to others. The second highest after alum. Okay, so this is examples of the coagulant type. And this is the coagulation process, how does the alum works, right? The mechanism is, macam mana dia membentuk mendakan. In chemistry, for example here, this is alum, ni alum 1 molar, so this is the bicarbonate, ada 6, dia akan membentuk mendakan. They produce this what we call that aluminum hydroxide sludge S ni ialah sludge, dia punya settlement lah, and also the carbon dioxide, water and sulfate. Okay, this is to calculate amount of sludge. As tadi itulah sludge, alum sludge ni yang the settlement and also the alkalinity consumed when they use alum. So basically you need to calculate the molecular weight, okay, from this reaction for alum, for alkalinity, ni alkalinity dekat sini we use alum, we also use the lime. We adding some lime in here, we call it as alkalinity. And this is the production is sludge. Ini kira-kira dia punya molecular weight, right? So solid removed when 1 mg per liter alum was used, right? So kita base pada molecular weight ni bagikanlah dengan alum. So we got this 1.684, okay, mole per liter, and we know that 1 mole of alum in here, 1 mole yield 2 mole of 2 mole of alum sludge. Therefore kalikanlah dengan 2 kalikan dengan mole of alum yolk, right, kalikan dengan this one in molecular weight of the alum sludge, then you can get the solid removed with 0.26 mg per liter. So if you want to know how much alkalinity in terms of lime that you add, remember sometimes in the water, beside we add coagulant, we also like other chemicals. Sometimes we add lime, okay, to adjust the pH. Then we can calculate how much alkalinity to be consumed. So in here you can see 6 mole. Here 6 mole of the bicarbonate, right, alkalinity, right. Then you can calculate here how much is 0.51 mg per liter. Base kepada ini kena refer balik in chapter 4, okay, on the alkalinity section and also the hardness. Semua senyap lah ni, semua dah tak faham Ini sampai berapa ni? Ada soalan tak setakat ni? Ni saya kena buat soalan, buat tutorial rasanya ni. Then you can do the exercise, baru nampak. Is there any question for this part?
Sepakat okey doktor.
So nanti if you are not clear, then try to do the revision after this. Then I will repeat again next week, yeah. Okay. Okay, then still in the calculation process. Okay, in order for you to know the optimal pH and also the optimal means the best pH lah, the best pH and also the optimal coagulant dose. Which one is the very good that provide a very good quality of water where it has less turbid, stability dah kurang, dan juga amount of alkalinity that consumed at the optimal dose. Okay, so for example in here, raw water contains 15 NTU of turbidity, 15 NTU. Supposedly for the good, for the water quality, how much is the turbidity? Allow turbidity for water supply Siapa tahu? Siapa ingat? Turbidity. Ini quite high lah ni. So we need to reach until which concentration of the turbidity? Yuzaimi ada?
Ya, doktor.
Maksud saya sekarang ni the raw water is 50 NTU, the turbidity level for the water supply, berapa yang kita kena achieve for the turbidity? Kena reduce berapa banyak? Ada siapa tahu? Ahmad Hakim? Berapa kita punya target? 10? Target turbidity kita? For treatment. Okay. 10 tu belum lagi tepat lah, dia ada lagi rendah sikit. Ahmad Hakim tak ada? Abu Hafizuddin? 9. Li kata 9. Abu Hafizuddin?
Ya, ya, ya. Sembilan. Yang lain dah cuba? Not more than 5, betul sepatutnya lah. But in the water treatment plant, it must less than 5 turbidity level tu, baru okay. Tapi sometimes we see lah from here, jar test 1 for example, jar test 1, jar test 2, right? Kita tengok turbidity ni, yang mana paling rendah, the one that gives the lowest, in this case 5.7, right? It's very good. Ini. Tapi we need to construct the graph first, graph and see to know the optimal condition. Macam ni 5.4 is very good. But theoretically we want to have less than 5. Okay, kalau less than 5 is very good the turbidity level. Okay, so during the experiment, right? Actually you can do this in the lab. For example, we have 6 jar. This kind of 6 jar. So this is the pH level for first jar, second, But for JAR test number 1, we fix the alum dose 10 mg per liter. Semua sama je. We put 10 until the JAR number 6. Ini salah sikit ni. Betulkan sikit Sekejap. Ni sebenarnya ke sini sikit. Dia tak gerak. Maksud saya macam ni. Kalau tak betul, you need to fix in your slide. Nanti tidak you terfaham. Maksudnya kat sini, ini pun kena betulkan sikit. Okay. Yang ini number 5. Please check okay, saya dah betulkan. Buat adjustment sikit. Please do the adjustment in your slide. So it's like that. It must be like this. Saya betulkan sikit.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Selamat hari raya.
Selamat hari raya, I got class.
Okay, just I want to say selamat hari raya.
Okay. Okay, alum dose here fix semula 10, 10, right? JAR test tu we fix the what? The pH. Kita fix 6. Yang ni kita fix kan? Yang ni kita fix. In here kita fix. Stability tak boleh fix. Stability you need to check lah. In the lab kita kena check by using our device. Because our aim is to check the stability must be very low lah. Jernih kan? Okay. I repeat So JAR test 1, your alum dose, alum is a coagulant, you fix it. You put 10 mg per liter semua sama. For all of this 6 jar. Okay, pH varies. Tak kisah. Maknanya depends on jar number 1. But still you need to check 5, 5.5 and so on. Okay, jar test for number 2. You fix the pH. So that means you must control the pH jar 1 until jar 6. 6. Semua sama saja. But alum dose, you make it varies. Pelbagaikan. For example, here jar 1, you put 5 mg per liter. Jar 2, 7. Jar 3, 10. Jar 4, 12. Jar 5, 15. Jar 6, 20. Yang ini you test lah dia punya stability levels. But in order for you to know the optimal dose dengan optimal pH, you need to construct the graph. Okay, first you need to construct the graph like this. Okay, this is the stability remaining, stability versus pH. Which one is the jar 1 and jar 2 ya? Sekejap ya. Okay. Ini untuk yang mana satu ni? Jar 1 ke? Nampak ni ya. Jar 1 apa yang fix alum dose. Alum dose is fixed. Dia punya pH not fixed. pH sekejap pH 5, stability 10. pH 5, stability 10. Oh okay, so this is for the jar 1 lah, betul tak? Right. For example, here pH is 5, then stability you got is 10.5. 10.5 here. Right. Bacakan kejap second one. The second jar for jar 1 ni, jar test 1. Kita check sama-sama. Faham tak?
5.57.
5.57. Kalau 5.5 sini lah 5.5 and 7. Okay, betul sini. Okay, number 3, jar number 3 please. Tadi tengah
6 and 6.5.
6 dengan 6.5.
6.5.
Okay, around here boleh lah sini, around here. Okay, sini jar 4 please.
6.5, 5.7.
5.7. Okay, yang ni tu. Lagi? Number 5 kan?
7 and 9.
7 and 9 sini 9 sini lah Okay, boleh lah, make sense. Last kali jar 6 okay?
7.5 and 13.
7.5 and 13. Okay. Okay, that means this one is for jar number 1, jar type number 1 experiment, right? Dia varies kan pH, right? And then you need to plot the pH with turbidity. Turbidity ni salah je ni, betul kan Okay, NTU. Okay, once you plot the graph, then you can make the lowest level of the turbidity ni, right? Kat sini, the lowest level, for example here, kejap. Kat sini lah, tak apa jelas So dekat sini, so we can say that the optimal pH is 6.5. Maknanya yang the lowest point ni, bawah ni, right? The lowest point here get the very lowest turbidity. Patutnya sini kan? Dekat sini. So dekat sini dia punya turbidity means the lowest is berapa ni? Around 5 something. Yeah, 5 something, right? That's for the pH. Maknanya pH yang paling bagus ialah 6.25. 6.25 sini The lowest turbidity remaining. So 6.25. Okay. Let's see for the optimal alum dose. Kali ni tadi pH for jar 1. Yang ni jar 2, right? Jar 2 dia varies kan, betul? Tolong saya kejap. For the first jar test tu tengok alum dose 5, right? 5
5 and 15.
5 dengan 15. Sini lah 5 kat sini kan? So dekat sini 15. Okay, lagi? The second one?
7 and 10.5.
7 and 10.5. 10.5?
10.5.
10.5, okay lah kat sini lebih kurang 10.5. Tadi berapa tadi? 5 with turbidity berapa? 15. 15. 15. Saya tulis sini lah. Okay, the third jar please. The third jar 10
10 and 6.
10 and 6. Okay, kat sini 6. Saya nak tulis the turbidity je. 6. And then number 4.
12 and 5.5.
5.5. And then
7. 15 and 7.
15 kat sini. Then last kali
20 and 13.
okay. Sama juga Then you need to plot the graph macam ni kan, the curve. Then from here you need to find the lowest point of the turbidity. Maknanya dia paling rendah lah kat sini. In this case is here. Saya tak tahu lah ni berapa, 4 point something lah ni 4.8 maybe. Then you turunkan ke bawah, then you can get this is the good optimal dose for alum which is on 12.5. Optimal dekat sini lah. Optimal means the best. The best in this case is alum doses. The best of pH occurred at 6.25. Maknanya they give the lowest turbidity. Ni turbidity. Because remember, for the coagulation process to make it success is based on your turbidity level must be very low. Dia jernih. Thank you Zulzen, help me. Okay, so far faham tak? To construct this graph. turbidity. So this is alum dose and this is the pH. Jar 1 and this is jar 2. Jar 1 because we varies the pH level, the pH concentration. Jar 2 we varies the alum dose because we want to know which one of the alum dose is optimal, the good one, the very efficient, that gives a very low turbidity. Dia low ni dah below 5 ni kira okey lah, good one. Apa soalan dia tadi? Okay, ini sudah from the jar 1. Yang ni we're using the jar 2 punya graph. Then the third one, you need to theoretically amount of alkalinity that would be consumed at the optimal dose. Okay, remember why we suddenly we have this alkalinity, because we adding lime to adjust the pH. So when we adding the lime, we need to calculate the alkalinity for the pH adjustment. So same process. Okay, this is generally the reactions. Basically by using the mole. Okay, kat sini the mole reaction. So from the mole reaction we can calculate the molecular weight. From the molecular weight, then we can calculate how much concentration of the alkalinity to be consumed. Sama macam tadi. Okay, ni saya simpan untuk next week lah. Nampaknya saya kena tengok lagi ada. Is it okay? If you want to do the what we call that tutorial, I can put in the author so you can try first, then we can discuss next week. Boleh? So tutorial ni optional. Optional to the students. If you want to do, that would be good. For you to do exercise. Saya tak paksa pun. Nanti sekejap saya cari dulu. Okay. Okay, saya dah jumpa dah. Saya rasa this is a very good exercise for you to try. Examples, I think this is from the previous question as well. Nampak? Okay, so this is examples of the tutorials. Then I will put in the author for all of you to try. You can submit before the class next week. Boleh?
So basically, okay, this is the process of the surface water treatment plant. This is very easy. You can find in the slides the purpose of operation. But please, because this exercise, try to read first and then do like a assessment, like a test, right? And this is the examples of the data. Then you can calculate the optimum alum dosage. You can refer to the slide as an example. And this is the examples of the calculation that you can determine the quantity of the alkalinity consumed as calcium carbonate. Alright, then I will put in the author later on. Okay, so we are up until the calculation for today. For halfway, I will discuss next week. Flocculation, softening, filtration, sedimentation, and filtration. Lagi half lah for next week class. Yeah. Then because last time I asked everyone to submit your individual assignment. So let's check. Semua hantar? So let's check the submission. So in here, the individual assignment must submitted on 1st of May. So basically, alright, grade means you submit before the due dates. Tapi ada seorang ni, Muhammad Daniel, tak hantar kenapa ya? Muhammad Daniel ada? Muhammad Daniel is one. Yang lain semua hantar. Muhammad Daniel ada tak sini? Muhammad Daniel Izwan. Tak tahu kenapa tak hantar ni. Boleh kontak saya lah lepas kelas ya. Saya takut bukan apa, you submitted but maybe because of the technical problem then your file is not submitted or something like that lah. Just to confirm ya. Alright, and then your quiz also, quiz number 3. Okay, ada juga yang tak submit. Yang ni tak boleh lah submit lagi lah because I already set the due date. Okay, ni saya akan tanda. Alright. Jadi saya rasa if there is no question, then we can go for the last part which is on the attendance. Okay, before attendance, is there any issue with your project assignment and your project group? Dia tanya if you have any question regarding your project, you can ask me. Ada juga yang tanya saya regarding to the survey, saya ada give comments. Group number 1, everything is okay?
Doktor, the interview is wajib kena buat ke?
Tak adalah wajib, saya pun tak ada mention wajib kan. Tapi bagus if you have any representative from the company. Kalau higher up is very busy, it's okay for the mana-mana yang tahu know about the system to have the basically to support your case study lah, your selected case study. Just to confirm. For example, you choose, okay, this is our main problem that we choose in our project. Okay, you provide with the awareness survey, right? Which is very good. But another thing is from the industry side. I know it's very difficult to get the times from the company ke industry, but try to look your plan B lah. Your plan B, which is kalau yang bos tak dapat, mungkin dia punya technician ke, I think should be alright. It related to this field. Boleh tak macam tu?
Boleh doktor, terima kasih doktor.
Because in real life pun kita we need to always to have support with our plan B, plan C. Kalau our plan A tak dapat directly straight, kita kena ada second choice. This is the problem solving punya tips lah. Kita tak boleh bila satu ni tak dapat, okay, terus we give up, right? Tu tak boleh, tak bagus sebenarnya macam tu. Because when you work with in the real situation later on, your boss would like to see your alternative option, right? Tak dapat yang macam ni, so what is your second, how you solve the problem? Okay, ni saya kaitkan dengan dia lah. Maksud saya nanti bila you dah kerja, so how you going to solve this problem? Yeah. So not necessary orang yang sangat penting dalam company tu, because we know that everyone's busy, especially bos-bos kan. Tapi kalau you dapat dia punya technician ke pekerja dia yang related to know the point of view to support your problem statement, that would be good. Group number 2, sementara kita ada masa lagi ni. Group number 2, okay, ketua?
Okey puan.
Semua okay? Semua dah siap?
Belum lagi puan, dia masih dalam proses, tapi setakat lah tak ada apa-apa lagi masalah.
So far so good,
Yep.
Alright. Group number 3. Ketua group number 3. Group number 3 tak ada ketua? Group number 4.
Okay. I think just the report dan survey kena kerjakan lah. The interview, we already interview lah, yeah. I have interview lah, yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Thank you, doctor.
Group number 5.
So far so good, doktor.
Okay, so far so good Tak ada masalah
Takat ni belum lagi ada masalah.
Belum ada lagi. Okay. Kalau ada perlukan bantuan, you can contact me.
Alright, doktor.
Okay, that's good. Number 6.
Yes, doctor. Everything is okay. Is in process.
In process, Dah start dia punya survey?
Nanti sedang buat, nanti nak bagi doktor check, lepas tu sudah nak keluarkan.
Okay, interview okay? Interview ada buat?
Ada.
Alright, good. Group number 6, group number 7.
Selamat doktor. Kami group 7 tajuk landfill operation and technology. So in our discussion part, We would like to relate the study with the theory in class, but we don't have the slide chapter 7 about the landfill.
Okay, I will put the slides in the author. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Doctor, so much.
Alright. Lepas ni I will put the slide ni. Tadi berapa? Group number 8.
Yes, Doktor. Sekarang semua okey.
Betul.
Okay group number 8. Tak ada problem
Tak ada.
Okay, that's good. Number 9.
So far so good.
So far so good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, group number 10.
Okey, Doktor.
Okay. Alright, number 11. Kita berapa kumpulan lah?
Sekarang okey lah. Tapi belum interview lagi.
Okay, cuba cari dulu tempat ya. Cari orang lah.
Okay.
To support your problem statement. Ada ke kita group number 12? Saya lupa dah. Group 12 ada ke? Yang tak scan nanti kejap. Group 12 ada ke? Saya lupa. Tak ada Ke sampai 11?
11 saja.
Sampai 11 Okay, alright. Okay. So that's good lah. So far you don't face any big challenges. If you got, then you can consult to me. Try to find the the solution first, right? Come up with a solution. Semua ni lah exercise to all of you for problem solving ya. Then ada siapa yang tak boleh nak scan tadi? Kejap. Attendance.